Welcome to the Bookers Alliance podcast, where we hold the pencil and the pencil is power. Coming at you right now is your host, Marky Mark, along with the man, the myth, the legend, Frank Donaldson. Join us as we discuss the ever-changing landscape of professional wrestling. So hang on tight, you jabronis, and enjoy the ride. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you for joining today's episode of the Bookers Alliance podcast. Come on inside the house, bring up a ringside seat, get your popcorn, your soda, your whiskey, or in this case, cognac.
Gotta get your cognac. The yak.
Get everything you need because today is Podcastpalooza.
Oh yeah, and I'll be playing the role of the ladies man.
The ladies man.
So yeah,
it's nice.
Absolutely.
All right. So we got a lot to cover in today's episode. Before we get there, though, we got to shout out our sponsor. We got to shout out to the Courvoisier, the cognac.
Oh, yeah. The Douce, as they call it. Douce would be the brand. That is the brand, as the lady man would say. That is the brand, Douce. That is what we have this week.
If any of you ladies out there, fine ladies in podcast land, if you want to meet me at the nacho cart.
Absolutely. At 10:30, right before the bus leaves, I'll be, you know where I'll be.
Cheers to the ladies man.
All right.
Smooth as always.
A different taste. It always strikes you when you get that different taste.
Yep, because it almost spikes you. It's like, ooh, it's gonna be whiskey, and then all of a sudden, take a left turn.
Yeah, well, you're waiting for the bite. I'm like, all right, well, where's the bite gonna hit me? Where's that burn gonna come from?
Nope.
Then it just dribbles down smooth, and I'm like, now I understand.
Now wait a minute, we still talking about cognac, right?
Oh, sorry. I told you I was in my ladies man thing. Now, you remember? Do you remember the movie? Do you actually remember the movie?
Yes, absolutely.
You remember The Affair? That was Tiffany Amber Thiessen.
It was,
right? Or as an adult, Tiffany Thiessen, right? Because we're not Amber.
We're not Amber
when we get to a certain age. But let me just say, if I had a nice glass of cognac and a little bit of Kelly Kapowski in my life right now, ain't nothing wrong with that.
Be set.
It's nice and smooth, right down her leg.
Let's talk. Oh no, let's not talk about that. All right, but
let's talk about it.
We do gotta let's talk about something.
All right,
we're gonna kick today's episode off with NXT Homecoming. NXT had their return to Full Sail this week.
Full Sail
University, going back to the roots,
from the rooter to the tutor. That's what you do when you go back to Full Sail. They went from the rooter to the tutor.
As Hunter kicked off the show, Hunter was still looking for a curtain and couldn't find it. Apparently.
Yeah, he got lost. The old stick let him down for a minute there.
He got lost. He had to pivot and video board.
Yeah, a little bit. He's like, turned around and didn't see that curtain, and he said, "Damn."
Now I will say the opening bit was actually pretty funny.
Absolutely.
I enjoyed the opening bit.
You're never going to see DX come out there and not get me back in my nostalgia and my childhood and enjoy a little bit of sophomore humor, even though his granddad's doing it at this point now. You're never going to get me beat on sophomore humor because things like that are what led to podcasts like this.
Correct.
Because we also lay around in some sophomore humor from time to time.
I heavily advertise that I'm a 12-year-old boy trapped in a 45-year-old man's body.
The only upside of it is now we can actually afford to do the nonsense that we wanted to do when we were kids, which is dangerous.
That is dangerous.
It is what it is.
My wallet will tell you it is dangerous.
Absolutely. It is what it is. But yeah, be careful out there when you're reliving your childhood dreams.
Yep. All right. So Hunter and Sean get in the ring and little tension there. There was a little tension, whether it was for real or whether it was for play.
Yeah,
there was a little tension there.
Well, WWE they definitely have no problem with leaning into old feuds and things like that.
That was pretty cool because Hunter was like, what if I want to come back?
Yeah. Although it was funny when Shawn Michaels when he came out there, first thing I noticed, let's get this out. First thing I know, he rode his horse out there at least. Or at least
leave that bow-legged man alone.
I was going to say, at least he rode it to the back because he may not have rode it all the way to the ring, but he definitely rode his horse out to the ring.
Out to the job.
Because good Lord, when he walked in there, when they got face to face. I'm like, well, they can't get physical because one's going to have a heart attack and the other one,
going for knee
both knees are going to fall out. I mean, he was legit going to walk out of there paraplegic, and Triple H was going to have a heart attack.
He was going to pull Shane McMahon.
Right. I'm like, so neither one of these guys need to get physical. I need y'all to back away from each other. Because, and now, God forbid if Kevin Nash had been out there, because if he'd have strutted out there with him, he'd have had tore quad at least, minimum.
At least.
Getting in the ring, he'd have tore a quad minimum. So that would have been all bad. We would have had DX and the entire clique would have been on the way to the ER.
Yeah.
So we need not for them to try and get physical anymore. But good interruption by William Regal.
I loved it, and I loved that the fans took the moment away from him.
They knew the writing was on the wall.
Yeah, and he was like, "That's my line."
Yeah, there's no other reason for him to be out here right now but to get this line.
And then he got the War Games line out. That was perfect. Charlotte come out there touting that the women has always been the backbone of NXT, and I can't disagree with her.
Well, still to this day.
Yeah, still there, yeah.
When they carried all the way to the main event of last night, that held true.
Yep. So I had a thought though watching NXT Homecoming, and we'll get into a little bit of maybe the matches, but I wanted to discuss something though. Shows like that are always great.
Yeah, love nostalgia.
I love the nostalgia part. I love the throwback. I love the getting to see the old NXT alumni kind of come in there and kind of talk up the new blood, so to speak.
Passing the torch.
I love it. Unfortunately, last night for me though, I kind of looked at it like, man, that old NXT Black and Gold, that first round of NXT, I don't know that they're gonna top that ever. I don't know. Think about the class that has come out of that NXT.
Well, I mean, we saw a lot of them last night, with the Rhea Ripleys and the Charlotte Flairs and the Alexa Blisses and things of that nature. But those are your success stories, right? Now, look at the other side of the coin here. There ain't that many success stories on the guys' side from Black and Gold NXT. Now, the original Full Sail NXT, the one that they were kind of reminiscing back to, where your Seth Rollins and your Roman Reigns, the one that Dusty Rhodes hemmed. Yeah, All-Stars came out. But the Black and Gold brand, that was that Adam Cole Undisputed Era type thing. Where are all those guys at now? You don't see too many of them guys on your TV screens week in and week out.
It just makes me wonder, like, no, not a knock on Sean, not a knock on any other talent. I'm just wondering, are we ever going to get that renaissance again? Like NXT, when it first kicked off, they had a chip on their shoulder. They had a point to prove. And now again, you've got guys and girls that have come out of there recently that are making an incredible name for themselves.
A lot more girls than guys.
Right. But look at Bronson Reed.
Yeah.
Look at Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
It just, these guys came out, did fantastic. But then you got people like Mello, and you got Trick. Trick's been vanquished to TNA, like.
Yeah, but he's a TNA champ. It isn't like he's jobbing over there at TNA.
Okay, TNA champ.
So that's what Dolph Ziggler's doing. He's over there jobbing in TNA now. So
I just, for me, the nostalgia was cool, but the nostalgia also made me look at the current NXT roster and go, I don't see the same caliber.
I don't know about that.
I don't see the same caliber.
What I challenge you to do is I think you're looking at the old school with kind of rose-colored glasses, right? Because that's what we tend to do. You tend to look at the good of the old school and you take the little diamonds in the rough that were in there and forget about all the other people. Think about all the other people that were wrestling around when Seth Rollins and those guys were coming around. They're all gone. They don't even work there no more. So take Dean Ambrose, for example. He don't even work there no more. So it depends on what era you're talking about. If you're talking about the era of the Seth Rollins era, I think that's where your Roman Reigns and all, all the top performers on the card now, they're still in WWE. If you shift to that next era, like I was saying, with the Adam Cole era and that Black and Gold, most of them aren't even there anymore. So were they really, really that good that they're not even with the company anymore? Or was it just because they were better than what Vince was putting on the main roster that we kind of romanticized it a little bit?
There you go.
I think
that's the ticket.
The reason I bring that up is because if you think when the black and gold brand tried to go head to head with AEW being the new kid on the block and all that, NXT couldn't even get over that hump back then. But now you got NXT, smashing AEW in ratings and quality and everything. But again, that also romanticized AEW. The start of AEW was romanticized a whole lot because you look at the Codys and the CM Punks and the things that were there in AEW at the start, they're also not there now. So now AEW kind of looks like what they really are. When you take away all the shiny objects in AEW, it's what you have right now. Because all the original pillars are still there and all the other stars that AEW was trying to create are still there. It was the ones that they selected in and out of WWE that made them second, next level. Well, now that those pieces are gone or relegated or, they're slowing down, now AEW kind of is what it is. So that's just my thing of it. I think you look at the shiny objects and it's easy to romanticize old school NXT, but in reality, they kind of are what they are right now, a development brand.
I do smell something coming though. I smell the Rock maybe in the kitchen cooking something. I smell.
Well, it ain't food because apparently he don't eat no more. So.
I smell. There was a lot of Twitter notifications flying around during NXT Homecoming though. TNA was not happy.
Yeah.
TNA was not happy. They were not happy that their championship is being worn by an NXT superstar. They definitely weren't happy by the words that Grayson Waller had to say.
Yeah.
Vic Joseph was, whether it was shoot or work, he was trying to kind of allude to what was happening on Twitter.
Yeah.
Whether or not that was shoot or work. I smell a War Games maybe
absolutely
between TNA.
If not a War
NXT.
Games, I think we're going to see an invasion type angle.
Yeah.
As I was watching it, I was watching them co-brand, TNA, where they had the TNA logo right on the, not on the title, but in the background.
Yep.
They had different things on there. This has been speculated before. We probably speculated before on it, but I'm not 100% sure. At this stage, WWE doesn't have some kind of financial stake in TNA.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
But unlike what they did with WCW, where you go on there and expose it, tell the world what's happening, pretty much let the cat out of the bag, which I get it for WCW with the fight that they were in. I completely understand why TNA and NXT have never had a fight. Have never been,
no.
And they've been working together for a while. I think it benefits them if WWE has bought TNA or they bought a stake of TNA or whatever the case may be. I think it benefits it to keep it quiet and let it pretend to be this kind of invasion that we're seeing.
I think what's happening with TNA is the same thing that happened with ECW back in the day.
Yeah.
Vince was a silent partner at one point.
Yeah.
Trying to keep, Paul had reached out trying to keep ECW afloat. Vince was a majority, was a silent partner.
But and they did bits and pieces of an invasion.
Right.
They brought a guy in here, they brought a guy in there.
Pillman
kind of what they're
showed
doing
up
now.
One point as a loose cannon, just like he was in WWE.
Kind of what they're doing now, but so I think at this stage they probably look at TNA as the kind of ECW out of the whole thing. I think fans want to pretend that AEW is the WCW of the whole thing, but unfortunately they're just not. I mean, the only thing they have in common to what WCW had is a big bankroll. That's it.
Yeah,
but
pretty
much like what we saw with WCW when the big bankroll went away. Oh hell, the bottom fell out. Everything went to crap real fast. And I feel like if AEW ever loses the backing, the financial backing, they're the exact same thing.
Yep. So yeah, the whole thing with NXT Homecoming, cool show.
Yeah,
love the aspect. Love the.
When you say love the aspect, like what exact match are you talking about when you say you love the aspect of what
Stephanie
we saw
McCarron was on the match.
I mean, there was a point where we saw double. What is it called? Devil's Kiss. We saw dueling Devil's Kisses, and I was there for it. The only thing I was thinking was, damn, if I wanted to train for wrestling, could we start there and work our way back? Yeah. So when they say, hey, we got to practice bumps and you got to learn.
That was the bump you would want to
practice. You got to learn mat technique. My personal preference would have been, hey, Stephanie, can we start there?
We're gonna get
and then we'll work our way back backwards
Canceled.
from there.
Here we go.
So we'll work on headlock takeovers and all that, lockups and tie-ups. We'll work on that shit next week. This week, we're going to start there, and we'll see where we end up.
I also am not sure, and we'll let this be the final point, and then we'll move on to our conversation here. I'm not sure about the whole Oba versus Trick.
I don't know. I mean, at this point now, those are your benchmark wrestlers in that promotion at this.
It is. But the only way that I see this playing out, Oba's got to go over and carry both belts, and Trick's going to move on to the main roster.
So I'm not 100%. I'm not 100% sure we don't see the opposite of that.
Really? Oba going to the main roster and Trick
look at Oba. I mean, we love Trick, right? We love Trick,
right?
On this show, we definitely love Trick. But what happened when Melo went to the main roster?
Nothing.
Do we want that to happen with Trick?
No, but I don't think they've wrapped up the whole thing between Oba and Ricky Saints yet, though.
Yeah, sure they did. I'm sick of that already.
Frank said I'm done with that.
When you see the two of them guys in there, it looks like the big brother and the little brother. I'm like, what are we gonna get out of this match?
It does look like the Jolly Green Giant versus the small.
It's legit David and Goliath at this point. It's Ricky versus Oba. I mean, it's no.
Yeah.
They may be able to do a great match, but why, right? Like, why? What I really want to see, though, is Obafemi on the main roster. I think he's undeniable as far as getting promoted to the main roster and being a force there. I don't think there's any way in hell you can fumble that. You can't drop that bag, right? But Trick, you can bring him up there, and if one thing goes wrong, if they book him wrong in one set of matches or one match potential, hell, he's Mellow. Well, now we already got one of those on the main roster. We don't need two.
I don't know how you get Oba to the main roster, though, and we are way off topic. I don't know how you get Oba, though, to the main roster and not use him in the manner of a killer, like a straight up killer.
Exactly.
I don't know that they pull that trigger, though. I don't know how they do it. Like, in what current scenario does he target somebody?
Well, I'll give you a great scenario if you want to hear it.
Who does he target?
Who's John Cena wrestling? And I know we're getting here.
You're talking about Brock.
Who's John Cena wrestling this weekend?
I thought about that. I thought about you going to just shoot him up there against Brock and let him maul Brock.
No. You went the wrong direction there.
Are you thinking John?
Doesn't John have to give the rub to a young guy on the way out?
Yeah, he did that to Cody.
Cody's ain't a young guy. Cody was the champion when they first met. Stop. Cody had the rub from birth.
Cody's not a young guy.
Exactly. Cody got the rub at birth. He's a nepo baby. Stop. Hell, he needed no rub at this point. Cody got the rub when the doctor smacked him on the ass and called him Rhodes. That was it. That was all he needed there. But if you want to take a big guy, a strong guy, the guy with the look, the everything that somebody like John Cena would want to promote, I say give him Oba.
So you're going to put him as a heel?
Absolutely. Okay. I say Oba puts John out. Okay. I say Oba wrestles John come December and sends John off to pasture. No better way possible to put that guy over. I mean, you want to see Oba get Oba? Put him against John Cena and let him beat John Cena into oblivion.
I ain't mad at that idea. I ain't mad at it. I mean, the only other thing that I would think of is where I was originally thought you were going, put him up against Brock.
No, so we know what Brock does to black guys, right? So that's why I put a stop to that before you even got it out, right?
No.
Think about Kofi Kingston. Think about Big E. They were champions at one point until they ran up against Brock. No. We're not putting another black champion against Brock Lesnar while I'm in charge of booking here. We ain't doing that.
If you're going to turn him heel, I could also see him kind of going and crushing like Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
I could see him.
Well, yeah, but that's the same angle we get on everything with Roman. Come back, wrestle a match, then get put out for 6 months.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that again, right? But I want to see a guy like Obafemi retire John Cena.
I don't want to see him get tied up in some vision like.
Well, see, that's the upside with John. He can only be tied up with John for 3 months at best.
That's true.
And then John's gone. But no, if I had my druthers in this whole thing, let John Cena get retired by Obafemi. Let him beat him clean. Let him hit him with his finish, put his shoulders down 1, 2, 3, and celebrate. And then have John do what Rock did for John and what others have done for each other. Let John Cena just look at him, shake his hand, and say, you know what? damn, you got me, why wander off into that way you can turn him back face at the end of it so the fans can say, oh my God, we hated you for getting rid of John, but hell, he was leaving anyway.
Yeah.
Look at what we got here, though. We got him at his start where John's on his way out.
Yeah.
No better scenario I could see for Obafemi than to put John Cena out of his misery.
I feel like if they played the cards right, you could get a Batista-type situation out of Obafemi.
Oh yeah,
multiple times.
You could go anywhere. You could go Brock Lesnar. He's that caliber athlete. He could be the next Brock Lesnar. He could be the next Batista. He could be the next insert whatever big guy's name you want to put in that's athletic as hell and gets it. Oba has had enough time in NXT that he gets it. A lot of big guys that come straight from football and things like that, they don't get that kind of opportunity to get it.
True.
The older guys, they just kind of got thrown in there and it was like, all right, sink or swim, figure it out. Well, you did what you did, Mongo, and when the refrigerator and them came in, to sink or swim, you figure it out. It is what it is. Oba's got the training. He was recruited straight out of college, went straight to NXT, and he's learned the business for the last 3 or so years. He's good to go as a wrestler. He's not just a football guy anymore. He's a wrestler.
Right.
And I feel like if he got in there with John and put him out, I feel like that puts him on superstar status for the rest of his career.
All right, let's switch lanes here and get into the Wrestlepalooza card. As Cody would say, look, come on, Wrestlepalooza. Did this really stick?
I mean, so hey, Triple H said it on Pat McAfee's show. He let the whole truth go.
Put together in a hurry.
Yeah, he said, hey, ESPN called and said we need something. We had to come up with something quick. And Pat held his feet to the fire. He said, well, there are a lot of other names. He said, what about WrestleFest? And I thought to myself, we had that already. But Pat's a young kid. He might not know.
He don't know.
But the fact of it is, Triple H was like, yeah, that would have been great too. But we had to come up with something quick. And I think we speculated on that a month or so ago when we heard this name. I think the very first thing we said was, damn, they pulled this out of a bag somewhere where they were like, shit, we need something now.
I feel like this was a Bruce Pritchard type thing.
Yeah, they're like the old bag of gimmicks.
Yeah.
I feel like he had a bag of gimmicks in there and he was like, oh, hell, we're in trouble. We need a name, guys. And they're like, well, fuck, let's see what we got. Palooza. Well, what can we do with Palooza? Mania Palooza? Wrestlepalooza? Wrestlepalooza. Oh, shit. ESPN's on the phone right now. All right, just tell them that. We'll clean it up if we need to later. We'll fix it later. They'll never remember.
Even CM Punk said today he's not happy with the name either.
Yeah, no. Triple H wasn't happy with it. I mean, when he was being asked about it, he didn't seem thrilled with it. Like, man, we put a think tank together and we came up with the best option. He legit said, hey, we had a short time frame. We had to come up with something.
But I'll give him this. At least it's not Quake at the Lake.
I mean, hell, if they'd have called Tony Khan for it, I mean, ESPN would have cut the deal. They would have been like, look, you know what?
Canceling that.
We see this as a fail, so we're going to go ahead and pull out of this deal right now.
All right, let's talk about some of these matches. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Stephanie Vaquer versus Io for the Women's Championship. Match, long time coming. Should have happened in Clash in Paris. Didn't happen for whatever reason. Weren't sure if we were going to get it because the contract signing got missed, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Monday Night Raw, boop, got it signed.
Yeah, they were. So I don't know. I think with all the other stuff they had going on, in the last month to 6 weeks or so, I think they kind of just forgot about the whole women's title. Once Naomi went out, out of sight, out of mind. I think they were just kind of like, okay, let's deal with, we got bigger fish to fry right now than the women's world title. Let's just get everything taken care of and then we'll figure it out on the back end. Well, now that back end's coming because it's like, okay, we've had a number one contender for a while now. We've had Io won her match to get in the match a while ago. It's like, what are we doing here? We just blew a pay-per-view a couple of weeks ago. What are we doing? I think they just had to realize, all right, we got to pay this off so we can try and move forward. But I'm not going to have a problem watching Stephanie Vaquer wrestle on Saturday. Ain't got no problem with that.
So here's what I do have a problem. Who do you put the title on?
What are they going to do or what should they do?
Either one.
I feel like they're going to put it back on Io because it came off of Io, from Naomi. I feel like they're just going to put it back on her and then have Stephanie chase. But that's not what I think they should do. I think they should put her over and let her move into something else completely, like possibly Rhea or maybe anybody else. But we've only seen, out of all the women they got between NXT and Raw and SmackDown, if you include, there's a ton of women out there, and we really only see maybe 3 wrestle for the main title on both shows, right? We've got Tiffany Stratton. She's only really circulating around with Jade, Nia. That's really it. And over on the other show, it's really only been circulating around Io and Rhea for a while since Liv got hurt. And now that Naomi's out, we've really only heard those 2 names. So I think inserting Stephanie as a breath of fresh air, I think it could be something different, but I don't think that's the way they're going to go.
Here's my problem with this whole scenario. We've already seen Stephanie versus Io.
Yeah.
We got it on a Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
Great match.
Yep.
You remember who won? Remember who won?
Nope.
They said it wasn't a winner.
Oh, okay, great.
It was a DQ.
Perfect.
So I don't know which way they go. I don't know which way they're going to go.
Uh-huh.
I don't see it working out for anybody. And here's why. You put it back on Io.
Yeah.
She's involved in a storyline with Asuka right now.
Yeah, and I think that's where they're going in that direction.
Rhea has been revolving around the universe of this belt for 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, hell, since her injury 2 years ago. I mean,
claiming that she's going to get it back.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So if you put it on Io, are we going to get Rhea versus Io again?
That's what I was saying before. Nothing new.
It's transitional because I don't see them not putting it on Rhea. But at the same time, they put it on Stephanie. Okay, so you put it on Stephanie.
Mm-hmm.
That gives Io the chance to go run off with Asuka and do their program or whatever they're going to do. Okay, your next challenger with Stephanie is obviously Rhea.
Yep.
Rhea has challenged for this belt how many times within the past 6-8 months and lost?
Every time. Every match she's had has been revolved around the world title.
So why are you going to put it on Stephanie just to get in a program with Rhea? And either you're going to cause Stephanie to be a transitional champion or you're going to cause Rhea to continue to lose chasing the championship.
Yeah.
It's a no-win for anybody in this situation.
If that's the way they end up, I mean, maybe they put it on Stephanie and they create a new challenger, but
maybe
I don't see that. That's not the direction that's not the direction that it looks like they're going. What realistically, I think is the first scenario. I think they put it on Io, and then I think Io gets into a program with Asuka. I think Rhea circulates around that because, like you said, everything Rhea does circulates around the title, but yet it never gets her to the title. It only circulates around it. But yeah, I see Io and Asuka doing something together for the title, which I'm interested in that, right? That's fresh. I haven't seen those two. I've seen them wrestle as a team.
Right.
I've never seen them wrestle against each other as far as I can remember at all. So it's fresh and new to me. But again, that dark cloud of Rhea Ripley looming over it also kind of bastardizes that too. Like, okay, so again, so if Io and Asuka are doing their thing, but you always got Rhea, involved in it, you're never going to get a clean finish. You're never going to get what you're looking for out of any of that. So
I think the honest to God plan was Liv would have carried the belt into probably the transition into Stephanie.
You think she would have won it before?
She would have transitioned it into Stephanie. I think that's probably what it was. And then Naomi stepped up and kind of inserted into that plan when Liv was out.
Yeah.
And then it was supposed to be Naomi versus Stephanie, where Stephanie would have won it. Yeah. Now Naomi's out. I think just this whole...
Even that, though, I feel like if it had became Stephanie and Naomi, I still think it all ends with Rhea. And at that point, that's where they're running into the problem at, is no matter what you do to get there, I think it all ends at Rhea.
At this point, though, you might as well just have Rhea win the Women's Rumble and have her challenge for it at Mania and win it.
True, but
at this point, we're in September.
Yeah, but I was going to say Mania is 6 months away, 7 months away with, going to April. We're still a good ways away. I don't want Rhea circulating around the title for 7 months and winning the Rumble. And I mean, because she's gonna challenge for it at least one more time before the end of this year. That's a given.
Yeah.
If she doesn't win it, she's definitely going to win the Rumble because, I mean, there's no other way to go at this point. You've already given it to Charlotte twice. Becky's already carrying a title. Your top names are already in there. Rhea's the only one that can't seem to get there. But I don't want her to circulate around the title for a year and then end up winning because, I mean, she's never out of the title picture at this point. There's never a stretch, and they're doing a good job with Charlotte because she was the same way. I mean, they're basically rinsing and repeating with Charlotte what they did with Charlotte with Rhea now, where Charlotte could never get away from the world title, and it became a hindrance because when she didn't win it, it's like, oh, Charlotte lost the step. But when she does win it, it's like, oh, they're just putting her over every pop. So it's a no-win situation. The best thing for her is to wander off into the tag thing and let people forget about her with the world title for a while.
Yep.
Rhea's in that same situation now, but where does she go to get out of it? I mean, how does she not circulate around the world title?
She's too big of a draw not to be circulating around the world title.
That's the problem. If you're not going to put it on her, then she's always hovering around, picking up these errant losses for no reason, just because. That's no good either. Yeah. Rhea may be bigger than wins and losses at this point. Her character may be strong enough that she could sustain wins. But after a while, enough losses, you're like, all right, I've seen enough. I don't want to see it anymore.
Yep. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about another match that's happening. Let's talk about this mixed tag match. It's happening between Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee and CM Punk.
So basically, couples retreat.
Couples therapy.
I love it.
Couples therapy. Interesting match. Happy to see AJ come back. I'm happy to see her back on our TV again. I felt like...
Happy to see her abs. Good abs.
I felt like she always brought a crazy type story angle to everything she was ever involved in.
Yeah.
She's that element of unpredictability. You don't know what's going to happen.
Controlled chaos. I feel like that identifies AJ Lee to a T.
I just feel like this match, though, unfortunately, is going to be a smoz. It's going to be some kind of a weird ending. I think you're going to get CM Punk and AJ going over.
Yeah. I don't think they bring AJ back to pick up a loss right away.
Yep. Yeah. However, since it's not a singles match, I don't know how much of AJ we're going to get to see perform. I don't know if they're protecting her from
I was going to say
the ring rust
how
spot.
Much prep she did beforehand that she might not be ready to do
what I would love to see if this was like a mixed tag tornado match where they could just brawl and get at it but it's not going to be that way. No. So I mean, you're going to get Punk and Seth doing their normal Punk and Seth stuff. AJ is going to probably get in there and play some of the hits, get some of those moves in. I do see a chance, though, for Becky Lynch to really, stand out in this match maybe for some reason. I just kind of see...
What about the dissension they tease between
That's what I'm talking about. Like just kind of maybe... she'll cost her team the match some way. I don't know. But we'll have to see. I'm interested in that match, but that's not the match on the card that I really want.
It's definitely not going to get me to buy the ESPN app. Let's put it like that, right? I'm not shelling out the $30 to get just that match. I mean, there's got to be more. One thing I'm thankful for. Thankful that Vince isn't involved right now, because this would have been couple swap therapy had Vince been in there. Because I mean, I would have seen
touche.
It would have wandered its way into CM Punk and Becky fighting AJ and Seth, and that it would have been some weird swap thing that that we don't talk about here on this show. But you guys know what I'm getting at. It would have wandered its way into some of that nonsense had Vince been around. So luckily we don't have that.
Yep.
But what we do have is a very compelling story because of the AJ return. Like their promo they did on Raw this week, the little segment they did, loved it.
Yep.
Loved the whole thing. The way they got the sneak in at the end where Becky got to get the drop on AJ, I thought that was creative. I like what we saw. I like the verbal back and forth between the four of them. Luckily, all four of them are really good on the mic.
Yep.
So they can all handle their own. They all know what role to play.
I loved AJ saying, look, I'm a Puerto Rican from New Jersey. I've been known to shank a chick.
Absolutely. I mean, just some of the real
great line.
Just some of the real conversation that it's like that would be said in the real world, whereas this scripted stuff wouldn't.
Yep.
It's good to hear stuff like that. It makes it feel more organic. It makes it feel like an actual tete-a-tete, not just, okay, well, here's my lines and I'll deliver them and whatever hits. It's kind of a more like, no, let's ad-lib, let's make it fun. I definitely enjoy that about it. Not 100% sure I'm going to enjoy the match, right?
Yeah. So
it's not going to be Nikki Bella from last month. It also won't be, remember the WrestleMania match where John Cena and Nikki wrestled Miz and Maurice? So it ain't going to be that bad.
Yeah, it ain't going to be that bad.
Yeah, because the workers involved in this match are a step up. So, it's not going to be that bad, but I feel like it's going to be akin to the same. Yeah. I feel like it's going to be similar to it. You're going to get your marital bliss spots. You're going to get your marital dissension spots. You're going to get all that. I think we're going to get that spot where one of the teammates costs the other teammate the match at the end. I do see it ending that way. I do lean towards Punk and AJ winning again because, again, I don't see AJ coming back to pick up a L right away. But maybe that's the swerve, right? Maybe that is what happened because they beautifully teased the dissension between Becky and Seth, and then they swerved it, and we're all on the same page. I'm like, I like that. I like the way they did that. I think they could pull that off in the match again. Because both of them want to be stars. They both want to be the tops. We all know that Becky's the star in that family, but it is what it is. I feel like that's the tension that they could draw off of. The only thing I'm hoping though is that they don't do matching wardrobes. I'm begging that they don't try.
Even CM Punk said they might.
Right, and that's what I'm afraid of because they're going to lean more towards Becky's side of the wardrobe. And that's the part that I'm like, we don't need no more of that. We need, let y'all just dress like wrestlers, right?
We run the show on time. Let's go ahead and get to the main
Short
event.
on time. We ain't even started the matches yet. What's the third match?
Let's get to the main event that's going to happen on this card, and this is the final time we will ever see Brock Lesnar versus John Cena.
Is it?
Is it though? Yeah, that's correct. Is it? Look,
if they go with my plan, it will be. I told you who should put John down.
Look, we
spent 10 minutes of the show talking about that. Now we're running out of time.
We had a perfect plan crafted as to who could have been John's final two opponents.
Yeah.
And obviously that plan is busted because one part of that plan obviously hadn't been in the kitchen cooking, and he lost about 70 pounds.
Yeah. So that's gone. That's done. We done.
Yeah, we ain't gonna get the Rocky anytime soon.
We might get the Pebble.
So look, John's got, I think it was 5 more appearances after Wrestlepalooza, something like that. So whoever puts him down, it ain't going to be Brock.
No.
Could be. You never know, but just
depending on how this match goes, Brock might put him down 5 matches early. We might just get 5 appearances. We might not get no more matches.
But going by anything, though, that we've seen out of John's last few matches here, last run, especially since the Cody match. And look, John's going to give this match everything. I don't see this being a squash Suplex City match unless it really is to squash him here to bring him back for the final. I mean, that would be the only thing I could think of. Do I see John going over in this match? I think Brock will put him over. I think Brock will put him over for John on the way out. I think Brock is going to make him work. I think it's going to be
Brock makes everybody
hell of a match.
Yeah.
I foresee John getting suplexed a lot in this match.
So whatever his body hadn't taken in these last 20 appearances that we got, he gonna get it all this weekend. Yeah. So I hope he saved it up. I hope he took the last couple matches. I know he put a lot out there, but I hope he didn't take a lot of bumps and all that because he's gonna be a bumper machine this weekend, boy. That boy gonna take a lot of throws. He gonna take a lot of slams. He gonna take a lot of punches. He gonna take an ass whooping.
I'm just wondering. Let's take a count. Let's take a count. Over under. Do we see 5 AAs and at least 4 F5s? Over under. Over under. Where you going?
So I'm torn. I'm over 4 F5s. I feel like he's going to F5 him to death. I feel like it's going to be like suplexes and F5s all day long. But I'm under 5 AAs because I don't feel like John's going to get that many in. I think if John beats Brock Lesnar, it's got to be a sneak. I don't see him flip it. I don't see him AA and
like the last real.
I mean, it's going to have to be a roll up or
like
a small package,
like a backslide.
Right? It's got to be something like that. No way in hell do I see John
Cena
package throwing Brock Lesnar around and Brock Lesnar just succumbing to the beating.
What if John gets him in the figure 4?
I mean, so none of that's going to happen, right? So if Brock Lesnar taps, I stop watching wrestling. At that point, I'm an AEW
That is
fan.
true. I don't think we've ever seen Brock.
No, we've seen him pass out to a submission, and I'm good with that. If he puts him in like the STFU and Brock passes out, great, I'll take that. But if I see Brock Lesnar effing tap out, I'm done. At that point, I'm not watching no more because it ain't real.
I think you're going to see a Crimson Mask in this match, though.
Oh yeah, there's going to be somebody's busted up. Yeah, something hard way.
Yeah, the hard way.
So Brock Brock never does blade, and that ain't his thing. We've watched Brock take pole straight to the head just to go hard way. And we've also watched him pull the elbow pads and the gloves off to make you bleed hard way. Randy Orton learned that the hard way.
way.
So yeah, I definitely think if we're gonna sell it, we're gonna sell it all out, right?
Yeah.
These are the last two old school wrestlers. I mean, Randy's in there too, but these are the last two of that ilk of wrestling. These are the last two, superstar names, like the ones that were untouchable, the face of the company. These are those guys right here. The fact that we're going to get them in the ring one last time, I think they leave it all out there. I think both of them could look at it as their last possible match and leave it all out there for the fans.
Got a few minutes left. I want to get your thoughts on something. Why do you think John is continuing to use the moniker of the last real champion? I have some thoughts on this.
That's it. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, he addressed it kind of this week with the entrance, where he said it started out as one thing and now it's still one other thing. But what I think it is, I think it's because we're never going to see anybody go for that many runs again. I think Triple H's booking style is more quality, not quantity. So I think like how Roman kept it for 3 years, I think that's more the Triple H thing. I don't think we'll ever get a champion I don't think anybody will touch 17 until Charlotte's on the way out. But what's done is done with her.
Yep.
I don't think anybody else will ever get to multiple champions, 10 plus championships. I don't think we'll ever see that again.
I think it's a nod to VKM.
Okay.
I think it's because he is the last Vince McMahon, quote unquote, era champion.
Yeah, that's true. I could see that.
I think that's what it is.
I could see that because Roman started in the Vince era, but I mean, he's flourished under both.
Right.
Roman kind of transcends just, a Booker's thing. He kind of became his own thing. He's like in that Hulk Hogan territory now where he got bigger than the business for a little bit. And even though they try to pull him down, I don't think there's a pull him down. But yeah, John Cena was the last Vince McMahon created champion with no help from the outside, no Triple H influence, no none of that.
Yep.
John Cena was that guy, and I think John going out is the end of that era. So I do see where you're going with that.
Got a couple matches on the card we didn't even talk about. Cody versus Drew, Usos versus The Vision.
All right, those will happen.
Yeah, those are happening. Yeah. The Cody versus Drew thing, just no build.
That's a manufactured story if I ever saw one.
Just no build.
Good Lord.
But so we're all in for Wrestlepalooza.
Yeah, we're in for something.
So we'll have to see how this
We're going to call it WrestleMania Junior, right?
WrestleMania Junior.
This is WrestleMania Junior.
Next year it'll be in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. Everything will be over there. At this point now, they might as well move the headquarters over there.
All right, everybody, reach out on our social media platforms. Drop us a line. Tell us your thoughts on Wrestlepalooza and let us know everything you got going on. With that, everybody, we thank you and we bid you adieu.
Peace. Man, I was looking at the tickets.
Today's podcast was produced by SBP. You can find our podcast on all major podcast platforms. Also, connect with us on our social media accounts. Search for The Bookers Alliance on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and X.